Hey family, so today we're going to be discussing, to me, I'm going to say the silly thing called free will. I'm not saying free will doesn't exist, but honestly, when you think about it, if God has his hand on you and he has a purpose for you and he has something that he wants you to fulfill, what he would do, even if you stubbornly say, I'm going to do what I want to do, he would allow you. You know why? Because he knows that the consequence of your choice will make you run back to him. I'm not saying there's no free will, but if God has his hand on you, the circumstances of your life are framed in such a way that you would end up doing his will. Yep. And some people would say, oh, what do you mean? And there are people that, do you realize that God knows how all of us are going to live? He knows what I'm going to become. I mean, the things, okay, for example, last year there were many things I achieved that as of January I did not even have them in mind. I did not plan to do those things. And it made me realize that when you're when you're surrendered to God or not, as long as you're called and chosen by God for a purpose, remember, called and chosen by God for a purpose, those kinds of people, you cannot run from doing the will of God. You might think you have free will, and I promise you, if you're so stubborn, God knows all his children. Someone like me, I'm not that stubborn because I'm stubborn, or I used to be, but small pain, I've realigned. But there are people who are so stubborn. The more stubborn you are, the more breaking or the more brokenness you will face as a result of your disobedience, as a result of your misalignment, as a result of your free will foolishness. Because to me, it is foolishness to know what God requires of you and to say you want to do what you want to do, right? So many people who believe in free will, they believe, oh, and this person decided to go and do this thing now, and nothing happened to them. Or maybe they are not chosen, maybe they are called. Okay, some things can pass. But there are people who God has special purpose for them. And those kinds of people, I promise you, you can run, but you can never outrun God. When God says time up, you will know what time up means. So, what's my advice to anybody that feels like, I have free will? God cannot force me to. Like, it's even the audacity for me, for you to think because you have the freedom of choice. You have the freedom of choice, but you don't have the freedom of choosing the consequence of your choice. I hope you remember that. And most of you that are running, most of you that have run, and most of you that will run, even after watching this video, the consequence of your free will choice that goes against the will of God, it will catch up with you and it will bring you right back to where you're supposed to be. See, God knows how to get you to the point where you will be the one begging him, Father, let me do your will. Let me just do your will. Please, let me do your will. Do you know why the prodigal son's father didn't stop him? Because the prodigal son was not built to survive outside of his father's house. The prodigal son was not built to survive outside of his father's house. The prodigal son was built to flourish in his father's house. So, because he was flourishing and he was okay in his father's house, he felt it was just because of his father's wealth, I believe. And he decided that, okay, if I have this thing, why am I caged? Now, that some of you, are talking to yourselves or allowing demons to influence your thoughts that why am I caged? Why must I do what God is asking me to do? And God is saying I should go this way. Why must I go this way? It doesn't look juicy enough. It doesn't look, and you say, okay, you will go. You know what God will do for you? Hold on, let me adjust my scarf. I like to be as real as possible. My hair is a mess though. You know what God will do for you? God will allow you, just like the prodigal son. Do you know that after the prodigal son suffered, he remembered that, in my father's house, even servants are treated better than this, they're enjoying better than this. So there's a way that those of us who are called and chosen are built, that we're not built to survive for long outside of the Father's will. So what happens is that the wind is gonna blow and keep blowing. And dear Jonah, you will get thrown into the sea, and the whale will swallow you. You will be confined. You will be in a place where nobody will be able to help you. And then you would remember that there is a God. There is a God who rules in the affairs of men. So don't let anybody deceive you with that free will stuff. See, if God is telling you to do something, I'm telling you now from experience, as an advice, follow God. It might not make sense to you. It might not look appealing to you. Just follow God. The suffer way day outside God's way is not worth the little enjoyment that you will enjoy in the beginning of being disobedient. I'm telling you. So I pray for us that God will give us the grace, to the prodigal son. I don't know why I'm led to go back to that story. He then realized that it was the way the father had built the place. It was under his father's roof that he had security and safety. He remembered, and guess what? Nobody told him to go back. This is going to be some of you in the next few months and few years. Nobody will tell you to go back. Nobody told him to go back. Nobody told him, go back, go back. No. When the sofa hit him by himself, he started to think. He started to think of how he was going to beg. And he said, I will tell my father this, because he knew how much he messed up. But the father's arms are always open to restore you to your position as long as you come back and decide to follow his will, because his plans for you are good. So why are you running? Why are you running? How can your plans, you that are a limited human being, and you have wickedness in you, how can your plans be better than the holy God? How can your plans be better for you than the plans of the one who made you and created you in his image and likeness, who loves you with an everlasting love? How can? Anyway, God bless you.